Don't we all wish that we were just a little more confident? So let's talk about it. Superhuman. When I think of confidence, I think of Captain America. If you watch his movies, he is very sure of himself. And when you think about it, he got his confidence the same way a lot of people get their confidence. Drugs. Maybe not. But of course, what made him Captain America is he took a special serum that turned him from a guy who's scrawny to a guy who's thick. Jesus, not that thick. Yeah, more like that. So he has a lot of reason to be confident. In fact, he is so strong, in his old movie from the 70s, he could lift his own motorcycle right over his head. That's real. I believe that. He's also got a cool suit, he's got a cool shield, he's got little bird wings on the side of his helmet for some reason. If he were a real American, those would be buffalo wings, am I right? So where does confidence like Captain America's actually come from? And how can you get some? Hint, it's not actually drugs. You want more self-confidence? Here are 4 things that might help you.
1. Know that you're close.
When you think of famous judges, you probably think of people on the Supreme Court. Ginsburg or Sotomayor or Brett Kavanaugh. I boofed. But the most famous judge in the world is probably Judge Judy. I mean, she is massive. Around 8 million people tune in every day to watch her show where she basically just yells at people to sit down.
Sit. Sit! Please. Sit down! Now you can sit down!
Listen to this. Judge Judy reportedly makes $47 million a year. What?
They pay me a lot of money for having attitude.
And apparently her favorite word is what?
What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What?
And if you're a really big fan, you can buy Judge Judy coffee mug, Judge Judy earrings, a Judge Judy throw pillow. I don't know. Looks pretty comfortable, to be honest. Now, without a doubt, Judge Judy owns that courtroom. Nobody tells her what to do. And that's kind of the way confidence works. Your confidence is your courtroom, and nobody can tell you what to do. You are Judge Judy. You have final say. Once you decide that you're confident, guess what? You're confident. And no one other than you gets to decide otherwise. And if anyone tries to tell you otherwise, you can be like,
sit down!
Think about that. You are 100% in charge of this. So you are literally just one attitude adjustment away from being the most confident you've ever been in your life.
2. Adopt a code.
When most people think of comic books, they think of superhero stories. But really, comics are sort of all over the spectrum. You got horror comics and science fiction comics and adult comics? The Kool-Aid Man used to have a comic. In the 80s, there was a comic where President Ronald Reagan got all swole and was trying to shoot bad guys in the face with a machine gun. The 80s were a weird time. But there was a time back in the 50s and 60s where comics were a lot more tame. See, there used to be a comics code authority, whose job it was to screen all the books and make sure there was nothing offensive in them. They saw themselves as the moral body of the comic book world, and if they approved, there'd be a little stamp on your book like this. And they didn't want any gore or drug use or nudity, which makes sense because it was the 50s and comic books were being marketed to kids. But they also had a bunch of odd rules, like your characters had to speak with good grammar, you couldn't show divorce in a positive light, you could never portray cops as the bad guys. They had to get rid of Catwoman for over a decade because the Comics Code Authority didn't like that Batman had a relationship with an attractive criminal. They should see her now. She looks like a Chuck E. Cheese dominatrix. The hell's a Chuck E. Cheese dominatrix? And nowadays, since the CCA is gone, everyone just sort of prints what they want. Violence, gore, an old man on steroids, whatever. I bring up this story because it's really just a colorful way to tell you that you can improve your confidence by adopting a strong moral code. As ridiculous as the CCA was, you sort of need your own version of that. And all that means is you always trying your best to do the right thing, even if no one's looking. If you do this, it will become a constant reminder that you are a good person who has reason to be confident. And when you start feeling like you're not good enough, you can always think about that time that you returned that guy's wallet or offered to help an old lady carry groceries to her car or when you told the Jehovah's Witnesses to get off your porch, but you did it politely. So always try and do the right thing, even if no one's looking, and watch your confidence start to grow.
3. People envy you.
Everyone knows who Pablo Picasso is. You know, Spanish painter from the early 20th century. He's probably most famous for his painting of whatever the hell this is supposed to be, or whatever the hell this is supposed to be. And of course, how could you forget whatever the hell this is supposed to be? Titter. Now, I make fun of his work, but Picasso is widely admired. I'm surprised he doesn't have a Ninja Turtle named after him. Now, not only was Picasso famously a painter, he was also famously an asshole.
What?
Not kidding, look it up. He was cruel to his wives, he treated them like garbage. He was physically abusive, he always had a side chick or two going. Occasionally he would date a teenager. He neglected his own kids. He even supposedly carried around a revolver with blanks in it, and he would fire it at people who asked him questions about the meaning of his art. And rightfully so, I mean, only an idiot would not know the meaning of whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Now, despite the fact that he was notoriously a bad guy, there are artists around the world who would kill for his life and career because they think he lives the ideal life. Here's my point. No matter what terrible things you've done and how unworthy you think you are, every single day you cross paths with people who think you live the ideal life and they want what you have. Sometimes it's a complete stranger. Like someone with no car will see you driving and go, "Man, I wish I had his car." Or if you're married, someone will look at you and go, "Man, I wish I was married." Or, "Man, I wish I had all my teeth." Or, "Man, I wish I had a big gangster-ass Pokemon card collection." Or whatever it is. Lots and lots of people envy you and want what you have, for one reason or another. You are Picasso to them, and you don't even know it, because most of them are too shy or too ashamed to tell you. So if you ever think, "Ray, I have no reason to be confident," bullshit. People envy you. Never forget that.
4. Radical self-acceptance.
If you're familiar with the X-Men, you know that there's this character named Angel. Without getting into his story too much, just know that he has the ability to fly because he has a big pair of wings on his back. You know, like a crow or a dove or a robin. Now, when Angel was growing up, he hated the fact that he had wings. He hid them from people. He thought they made him a freak. He even tried to cut them off at one point. I mean, the dude was clearly miserable. Then one day, when he was at boarding school, his entire dorm caught on fire. And he was able to fly using those wings that he hated so much and save all the other kids from getting burned. Of course, eventually, Angel learned to accept his wings as they became more of an asset to him. I mean, yeah, look at him. They're beautiful wings. Captain America should put them on the side of his helmet. Anyway, if you want to gain confidence, real confidence, you have to do what Angel did and practice what's called radical self-acceptance. Look, we all have wings that we want to cut off. But you have to learn to accept yourself for who you are. That doesn't mean you can't improve. It doesn't mean you can't change. It just means that you first have to look in the mirror at yourself and all your flaws and own that shit. Even if you're a goofy virgin with an "I just farted" face who only has 9 fingers because you lost one when a game of Magic the Gathering got out of hand, then that's who you are. Own that shit. It's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with you being you. And anyone who tries to make you feel ashamed for being who you are is an asshole. A Picasso-level asshole.
I hope this helps.
Alright guys, let's get back to Captain America. So here's the thing about him. He's the kind of guy who has always tried to do the right thing.
For as long as I can remember, I just wanted to do what was right.
Even when he was still a scrawny little dude, he tried over and over again to enlist in the military and fight in World War II. Because morally, he felt like what the Nazis were doing was wrong, and he was willing to die to try and stop them. That's why he's confident. Captain America was a hero before he ever took the special serum. He doesn't need superpowers to know he's great. And neither do you. Guys, I hope this helps your confidence. I'll see you next Monday. I'm responding to comments on Facebook and Instagram, so you know what to do.
Girl, I'm like the McRib. I'm gonna do what I do, no matter what you say. I'm living my life, okay, ooh yay. I guess that every Superman has a doomsday. I'm living my life, okay, ooh yay. I can take a loss, and I can handle rejection. I just wanna have an affair.